You are now in the black box. Whoa. With Spider Loke, Most Easty, aka VJ Keyway, and the Google Gang. Let's go!
Snake with Nip Hustle. Big shout out to my nigga SPI, Spider Loke. You know I'm in the black box, had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned, all that.
Jeter. Gratitude is the attitude. Show is a blessing to be back in the black box as we blow succession. The constant, consistent, continuous content creation campaign continues. Those are the 7 C's. As we navigate upon those, I am the captain of the voyage, SPI Easty, a.k.a. VJ Keyway, Mr. 1597 himself. The brutal gang extortion of Chris Brown. Is he a real Piru or is he paying for protection? This is a title of the video we're about to react to. And it comes from the channel, Trap Lore Clips. It's 11 minutes. It's from Trap Lore Ross, Trap Lore Clips. So I imagine it's a longer, extended version of this video. However, this is a question out here on the West Coast, and I'm pretty sure around the country, maybe even worldwide. This is a conversation that has been happening in barbershops for years. Many people locally have different perspectives on it because you definitely can attach Chris Brown's name to some reputables from the neighborhood that he claimed. And that goes for the first name before you get to Piru. So can't many people speak on whether or not he from Fruit Town when it's reputable fruit towns, and I'll leave them nameless, that stamp them. Now, where it gets tricky is the Piru part. And there are Pirus and even Crips and Bloods that aren't Pirus and locals, non-affiliates that are very familiar with what constitutes being an actual Piru. And then that's when other people's perspective kind of like gets somewhat of a voice. But with no further ado, let's see what Chris and the Pirus have been up to. Big Dame, what it do?
Chris Breezy is a perfect example of a clean-hearted celebrity getting sucked into the murky world of gangs after he became a millionaire megastar. Born in Virginia, Chris Brown's upbringing was a million miles away from the red bandana-draped blood gang dominating the streets of South Central Los Angeles. Inspired by Michael Jackson as a child, Chris Brown was a natural performer, and he would quickly make a name for himself in the music industry, winning talent shows as a child.
I think I did one actual talent show. It was at summer camp.
Oh, okay.
It was at like a summer camp I did.
You better have won. Because,
I won.
Okay, I was going to say because somebody got bragging rights.
Yeah, I know. I definitely won, and I did. It's funny. I did Thong Song Cisco.
Oh, man.
Bro.
And getting discovered as a teenager, eventually moving to New York and shopping his demo tapes to major record labels, resulting in a major deal with Jive Records, alongside the likes of Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake. His first major single, Run It, swiftly rose to the #1 spot on the Billboard charts, and he was instantly a multi-millionaire megastar.
He was out of here, out the gate. Yeah, he didn't have a magical run on my mama.
From here, he would go on to release hit after hit, landing more #1 songs and huge collabs with other popping artists at the time, like T-Pain. Chris Brown was a megastar with a clean-cut image that made him a brand-safe A-list celebrity with the whole world at his feet. And that would all change in 2009, when his relationship with a fellow A-list megastar, Rihanna, would come to a dramatic end as stories circulated of Chris Brown assaulting her.
A police department release says the R&B singer and a woman got into an argument in a vehicle early Sunday. The release says the argument escalated when they got out of the car. Police responded to a 911 call. Officials say they found the alleged victim, but that Brown had already left.
This caused Chris Brown's image in the public to take a nosedive, losing his most lucrative endorsements and turning the public against him. This ultimately resulted in criminal charges.
It's 5 years probation and 6 months community labor for Chris Brown for his beating of Rihanna. The sentence handed down Tuesday by LA Superior Court Judge Patricia Snegg, as she also warned the R&B singer to stay away from his ex-girlfriend for 5 years.
Chris claimed himself to have gone from the top of the world to public enemy #1, but interestingly, Chris Brown was able to bounce back from his domestic violence convictions, but ultimately his image was forever tainted. He could never be the clean-cut, singing and dancing darling that he once was. He was now a convicted criminal, and despite never having grown up in the life of crime, unfortunately now, with a stain on his reputation, the streets would come knocking. What's clear is that by the early 2010s, Chris Brown was seen regularly wearing red and repping Fruittown Piru, a notorious blood set from Compton, California. But how this affiliation came to be is open to interpretation and rumors. Some have suggested that this was Chris Brown getting extorted or buying his way into the Blood Brotherhood for clout, while other rumors would circulate that he was actually jumped into the Fruittown Pirus at the young age of 16 after a brief spell in an LA jail where he apparently turned down no squabbles. One clip would even circulate claiming to show Chris being initiated into the
So if Chris Brown was in an LA jail at the age of 16, I mean, he was in a juvenile facility. That's very, 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 very interesting. Could not imagine Chris Brown being locked up in any LA juvenile facility, especially not squabbling on no gang, because at his age, we very well would have heard of that by now. That's why you got to be careful. Shout out to Trap Lord Ross, not taking nothing from his journalism and coverage of local issues. He does what he does. This is the World Wide Web. Everybody do what they do. However, to even suggest, and sometimes I heard him suggest things about Loose Cannon. I don't know if he was being sarcastic or really giving Loose Cannon and Wacko No 100 these props when he describes what they mean out here to the West Coast, because it'd be so far from the truth. They are nobodies. However, I can't imagine Trap Lord Ross, Chris Brown actually have spent some time in a juvenile facility out here. However, I could be wrong. I could have just not been aware. Oh, my mama. But that sounds totally unbelievable.
gang, though it really seemed to just show him vibing with his set. Interestingly, Chris Brown had been performing with the former child star Bow Wow in LA as early as 2007, and Bow Wow was later caught on camera also yelling on Piru whilst having a public meltdown during the filming of an episode of his reality TV show.
Dance over here, what happened?
One of y'all set on Piru.
What happened? I just came out like
I got to.
Oh, no.
That was cute. That was cute. Oh, my.
huh? What?
Online rumors have also suggested that Chris Brown had been hanging out with people associated with the game's music label Black Wall Street already in the late 2000s. This label including artists like Compton Menace, a Fruittown Piru rapper who made an appearance in Tyga and Chris Brown's 2010 music video for the song G Stuff. Another post on a forum would allege that by 2013, Chris Brown had been having blood protection already for years, specifically stating that a rapper called Parlay Star, an alleged Pueblo Bishop Blood, had taken Chris under his wing when Chris first moved to LA, and even stood up for him during a beef with the former B2K R&B boy band member Raz B in 2010.
Beef with the boy band member B2K Raz B just don't sound good for your resume. Oh, my. Power or not.
Social media, a Twitter user would mention as early as 2011 that Chris Brown owed his life to Parlay and was paying him for protection, and people on Twitter would also take note of Chris Brown's 2011 song Last, where he raps how he's from Virginia but represents the Pirus. The media would eventually take note too, like Spin Magazine, who would report in June 2012 how Chris Brown had allegedly been throwing up blood gang signs during his violent brawl with Drake at a club in New York City. Soon, gossip outlets like TMZ would also run articles seemingly shocked about footage of Chris Brown throwing up gang signs in the club. Chris was apparently even caught spray painting Fruits Piru onto a wall in Hawaii of all places while on vacation. There were rumors that
Oh, no.
Not Hawaii. No, he didn't. I refuse to believe that. Oh, my.
CB's gang affiliations were actually putting him in danger at this point, with TMZ also capturing Breezy getting pressed by some LA Crips while exiting a club in 2013.
Yo, scary ass Chris. Is that bulletproof? Is that bulletproof? I'm a Crip. Hell yeah, bulletproof. Hey, I ain't never seen in the car like
one point for Chris. Because they wasn't really pressing him. It's like they were just clowning, having fun. I don't think they were serious. They could have been, but sound like when he asked me, was that thing bulletproof? She like, Chris asked the nigga, is you bulletproof? That was a good one. He do got bars. He be spitting all that. That was a real-time bar, real-time and game show speed. That was a good one. Cleverest. Nigga, is you bulletproof? Nigga? Oh, blah, 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 blah.
Man, I love you, Chris. You my.
But damn, that felony in California, I was almost saying he probably got all the right paperwork to have it with him right. But nah, he a felon, but it still ain't no telling. Oh, my mama.
Don't act like that.
Then came 2 incidents of shootings a few years later at events that he was present at, one being a concert in San Jose where 5 people were shot, and another a pre-VMA party, the latter resulting in fellow Notorious Industry blood Suge Knight actually getting hit by gunfire, as well as an innocent 19-year-old model. The Bloods around Chris Brown would use his connections to get all the way into his inner circle and business endeavors too. A 2017 clip would circulate showing a large group of menacing-looking Bloods that had apparently accompanied Chris backstage to a professional movie set, with Chris Brown throwing up gang signs and the Bloods eating their way through the catering tray.
Hello.
Hey, I know at some point or another that might have came across as looking cool or fly, but knowing Chris Brown's story, where he came from, this look El Bunko. Oh, my mama. It's like how, why, when, where did you end up like this? Shout out to the fruits though, but damn.
Here, yeah, he count money. He busy right now. Big movies. They got me in all right tonight.
St. Louis was popping.
Blood, a whole lot of gangsters.
Was that the battle? Was that Hitman Holler right there too? I think so.
I need some bookies on there.
Hey.
They got the Bockley bit bookies. We up in here, though.
Yeah, that way.
Yeah, Fruit Town, Athens, you know what I'm saying? Avenue, Piru, all that. We in the big show. Yeah.
While Chris Brown wasn't himself from the streets of LA or a blood set originally, he was moving like he had true permission, throwing up the set with confidence and seemingly being accepted by the gang. His lyrics kept referencing his new set too, like the 2013 song War For You, where Briss Breezy raps how he stays in these streets, and throws up the hand signs for Westside and the Pirus. Chris seemingly was also willing to put money up for the street figures in LA, one example being reports that he donated 1,000 pairs of sneakers to Compton kids, but interestingly, it seemed that the gangs on both sides of the LA streets were looking at Chris's bank account too, as he was notably seen also giving 1,000 pairs of shoes out as part of a donation for Rollin 60's Crip, Big U's Developing Options nonprofit, with a recently resurfaced clip showing accused extortionist Big U doubling Chris Brown's donation from 500 to 1,000 pairs on camera.
Back. If you can go to the club and spend $80,000 on bottles, and you can spend $10,000 to go in the club, but you haven't done nothing to help the neighborhood, you know, this young man just gave out 500 pair of tennis shoes. And he's about to give out another 500 pair of tennis shoes.
Then the whispers began that Briss Breezy wasn't just repping a newfound brotherhood in the Blood Gang, but perhaps he was paying for the privilege and was being forced to contribute to the streets for his ongoing safety. Charlemagne the God would claim in a Vlad TV interview that Chris Brown was actually being extorted financially for his blood affiliations.
It makes no sense. Now you just out here getting extorted. You in LA getting extorted. Let's call it what it is. Like a lot of these guys are just out in LA getting extorted. That's it. You're really paying for protection when you could just pay for protection the legal way. You shouldn't be allowed to wear it. If I was the Bloods, if I was the Crips, if I was the Fruit Town Pirus or whatever.
Which are Bloods?
Fruit Bloods. If I was them, I'd be upset.
However, conversely, respected Piru, Whack 100, would also sit down for a Vlad.
See? Trap Lord Ross, how you throw those certain adjectives around. Respect it. Let me make sure I got that right, how you said it. Let's see.
Fruit Town Pirus or whatever.
Which are Bloods?
Fruit Bloods. If I was them, I'd be upset.
However, conversely, respected Piru, Whack.
See, if you want to come across as an expert on the landscape out here, you need to take out certain words. He is not respected as a Piru. He is a Piru. Nobody respects him out here, Trap Lord Ross, and you do great journalism. It seems like you're avoiding certain facts. You've had to surmise that throughout your research at this point. I saw you sit there and be quite indignant to him, and he kind of bullied you and didn't allow you to land your point in person, but you tried. And he was a coward trying to bully you and people with the likes of you. So don't give him that. Who respects him out here? Nobody does. Okay, I'm gonna let you continue.
100 would also sit down for a Vlad TV interview, claiming that after 10 years of affiliation, Chris Brown at this point was truly a respected Fruittown Piru native.
Chris is from Virginia, and it seems like this thing came as an adult after he was already a multimillionaire. Am I right?
Definitely. Chris Brown has been about 10 years of him been standing on, I'm from Fruittown Piru.
Well, he's not from Fruittown Piru.
Oh, he's from Fruittown Piru. Has done the things that he needed to do from what I'm seeing and understanding, you know, to get his respect.
Some people on Reddit would suggest that Chris couldn't possibly be a real Fruittown Piru due to his friendship with fellow blood rapper YG, who represents the Treetop Pirus, a big rival of the set, as the two had collaborated on the song Rodeo in 2020, with many commenting that this collab between two people claiming enemy gangs is proof that Chris isn't really living and dying by these affiliations. The war between the Treetops and Fruittowns is incredibly deadly, as was explained in a Hood War Stories documentary on the topic.
In this episode, I'll be discussing the war between the Treetop Pirus and the Fruittown Pirus. There have been some rift developing between Piru sets in Compton, mostly over women and drugs, but it was quickly squashed. This particular dispute between the Treetop Pirus and the neighborhood Pirus was different. It wasn't resolved, and things began to escalate.
Furthermore, one vlog on Street TV actually claimed to show Fruittown Piru members on their block denying Chris Brown's membership after both him and Soulja Boy claimed to be Bloods.
I don't give a fuck about that Soulja Boy, Chris Brown shit. We don't need y'all, blood on about that. We bracket regardless without no celebrities or none of that, blood. The whole shit is just a publicity stunt to me, you feel me? Like, they just using the good for fame, and this shit ain't nothing to play with. We got up in jail that had died and shed blood. We need to weed, man. This shit not nothing to play with.
Interestingly, the Fruittowns would even demand pay.
Oh, my mama, everything be cool and fly, and I get it, because I done did it. A young buck, brought him to the set, did all the fake, he from the hood and all that. But when you hear real members say what she just said, it's like, how do you argue with that? Oh, my mama.
Payment for Chris repping the set.
Tell him to get the Fruittown out of his mouth and pay us. If you're going to get paid for this Fruittown shit, pay us, because we the ones that's we making it known for you niggas, bud, on Piru, man. Pay us, bud. Y'all pay-per-view all that. Pay us, bud.
But despite this, TMZ articles would circulate seeming to downplay Chris Brown's gang membership. The article revealed that unnamed leaders of the Fruittowns spoke to TMZ, saying that they're actually down with Chris claiming that he's a Blood because he's hired several of them to work for him, and that Chris comes to the hood and hangs out with them, includes them in his music videos, and he donated 1,000 pairs of new shoes to Compton kids. Rap megastar Akon would claim that Chris Brown's gang ties actually essentially stopped him from reaching the heights that he could have hit with his career.
Because Chris got the talent. Wow. He just needed the direction. Imagine if Chris had Mike's team.
Right.
It would be something different.
And that's big.
But Chris is like he got Bloods around him. He got little gangbangers around him.
Right.
He don't have the guidance.
Right.
Meanwhile, Chris himself would openly and proudly claim to be a Piru member on his social media, with many in the comments doubting his claims, saying, yeah, he's a Piru as long as that payment keeps coming. And another said, anyone can be a Piru as long as you're paying a kickback, and that only applies to fools with a lot of money. Another said, bro lets a few of them take his money and sleep with his women and acts like he's not from Virginia. However, in 2025, Chris Brown warned his fans not to wear red bandanas to his shows for safety reasons, while still reminding his audience that he is indeed Big Briss Breezy. At the end of the day, whether or not this is extortion is still up for debate. Perhaps Chris Brown has really been put on in Fruittown Piru, or maybe what begun as extortion has flourished into a full-blown blood brotherhood. But while Chris Brown seemingly gained the full acceptance of his gang set, the same can't be said for Gunna.
Hey, check this out,
All my life, like,
What it is, though?
from my mama house to my daddy house, it was like straight up central.
I'ma tell you how it is. I was raised by the streets. I'm known from the west to the east.
Like 156 to
What a crib say was cracking.
99th
Blood say
Street.
was bragging. I ain't turning down.
That's how I ended up like
Raised by
banging.
the streets. I'm known from the west to
Like
the east.
970, you did.
What a crib say was cracking. The blood say was bragging. I ain't turning down now. What's
Loaded up like a damn, same bandana.
bandana, all black head to toe, like a bang Santana. Clan of lanternas on the scanner when it's time to trip. Can I be a Los Angeles loc and a Compton crib? No brain, head bait magnet, chomping on tracks. First rapper on the map, just say bumping on wax. Relax and get your whole group bebop boot. By SPI, Boodaroo, and Treetop. True, 1597, fucking with the 400s. Wanna run it in, I'ma let the whole fun it. All on a bitch, boy, break a nigga face. Biggest mistake to think you can ever take a nigga play. See, I came up with some CC riders. Cause watch your cack at the center divider. Aaron Tyler, Pot and Chill. My track, new G homies. G, ask the streets about me, I'm a G homie.
I was raised by the streets. I'm known from the west to the east. Where the Crips say was cracking, the blood say was bragging. I ain't turning down now, what's happening? I was raised by the streets. I'm known from the west to the east. Where the Crips say was cracking, the blood say was bragging. I ain't turning down now, what's
been a
happening?
motherfucker, but I'ma play ball. SPI, AD, fucking with the 400, no bleep. Really in the trenches, but I'm strapped when I do it. And money is the mode, yellow tape, how I rule. That ain't black, West trees, why I do it? So nigga, watch your ass at the center of the vibe. Been getting dope, hella active, can't change ways. Bumping all I know who wanna play games. I'm thinking nobody really catch a body. I don't fuck with these niggas, this be fucking with these niggas. Real street baby, really get it baby. When I show up, I show out. A nigga need a bag. Stick a nigga out, don't start that video. So who talking? Nigga had to get it, so I can tell you how I did it. Who more active? Westside really ride. Bitch niggas,
I'ma tell you how it is. I was raised by the streets. I'm known from the west to the east. Where the Crips say was cracking, the blood say was bragging. I ain't turning down now, what's happening? I was raised by the streets. I'm known from the west to the east. Where the Crips say was cracking, the blood say was bragging. I ain't turning down now, what's happening?
Really in it, she get ugly at any minute. Hit the club and done security, sneaking to see me in it. One time's coming, we gon' floor. Chevy got to hear me in it. It was cracking in the hood. They would say that 20 did it up. Kill it on these tracks. I know Flo, he got my back. Stacking dollar with the strap. SBI with that Bay Mac. Look, first a couple stacks. Doubted better read the stats. When I'm rapping, it's the truth. Every line I speak is facts. Look, my mama said my homies was a bad look. We was hitting schools trying to steal a couple MacBooks. I was always that nigga to try to rumble up with it. Put a lot of niggas on their ass.
I'ma tell you how it is. I was raised by the streets. I'm known from the west to the east. Where the Crips say was cracking, the blood say was bragging. I ain't turning down now, what's happening? I was raised by the streets. I'm known from the west to the east. Where the Crips say was cracking, the blood say was bragging. I ain't turning down now, what's happening?